We are back on the road to glory. What do we got? April 15th. A lot of schools are wrapping up spring football, especially the schools down south and a few schools out west. Um, we're here to talk about it all, as well as a very, very interesting situation that has kind of taken college football by storm. But before we get into all of that, I have to welcome my co-host, Stefan. Steph, brother, how you doing? How you feeling? How you living? What's the vibes?
Man, the vibes is great. Just a lot of stuff going on right now in spring ball all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the Duck Spring game is until late. I think it's April 26th. We're always one of the last people to have our spring game. So ours isn't for a while. We're still like in the middle of spring ball, but
Yeah, it's
spring
different
portal is
for.
about to open.
My bad. Good.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I was like it's different for depending on like what part of the country you're from. I know Rutgers, their spring game isn't until the 26th, so they're still in the middle of their spring program and all that as well. You're up here in New Jersey, so I'm not shocked that Oregon hasn't finished up either.
Yeah, but portal opens in what 2 days or tomorrow actually.
Tomorrow,
I'm pretty sure it opens April 16th. Um, Yeah, so we're gonna see some interesting stuff happening.
surely. I mean, college football never sleeps, and with the transfer portal opening up, and obviously Nico entering the transfer portal. There's a lot of drama going on, and that's what makes college football beautiful. Because even in the off season, there's things going on. And I mean, I guess, do you want to start with the Nico situation? I think we could probably spend a majority of our time talking about this because there's a lot of different angles and approaches that um, we can talk about. Or would you rather talk a little bit about some of the games or the portal or what you feeling, what you thinking?
I mean, yeah, we can get right to this whole situation, and honestly, you could play the clown music for this one because this is clown of the week right here. I mean, probably one of the biggest clown of the weeks we ever gonna have for a long time. This is just all around clownery right here. Just to put it in a short form way of saying it, but yeah, you could go ahead and play that music because this is crazy.
A rare mid segment clown of the weekend. It goes to Nico Iamaleava. And so here's what's happening for those of you guys that live under a rock that may not know what's going on. Nico, obviously a former 5-star quarterback, very highly rated, um, signed with Tennessee in March of 2022. He actually signed a pretty, at the time, back in 2022, a pretty groundbreaking deal for $8 million over a 4-year span with Tennessee's Spire Sports Group, one of the largest collectives in the entire country. And this deal, which included $350,000 up front, it was a pretty big time at the beginning of the. It was a pretty big deal at the beginning of the NIL era. It kind of reset the market for a lot of recruits and even active players at the time. It was a pretty bold move to say the least, especially in that year. Now in 2025, um, other players, other players, I guess I should say not coaches, but other players like Carson Beck transferred from Georgia to Miami and are making up to $4 million for the year. A player like Darian Mensah, who transferred from Tulane to Duke, is making similar money to up close to $4 million a year. So Nico and his camp wanted to renegotiate his deal, which was only set to pay him about 2.2 to 2.4 million dollars in 2025, and he basically wants to match the $4 million that were secured by the other quarterbacks that I mentioned before. Now, obviously, the situation escalated when a couple of days ago, right before the spring game, He pretty much no showed, um, ghosted the coaches and the team, and then the day after the orange and white spring game, Coach Heupel he announced that Tennessee was moving on from Nico, who basically submitted the transfer portal paperwork. Um, so basically, we had our first, I guess, high profile holdout, potentially you can call this, or hold in. Um, Steph, I'll leave the floor open to you now that I explained the whole situation for everybody. What are your initial thoughts? What are your initial reactions? How you feeling about this whole clown fiesta that we got going on?
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. It's a clown fiesta. This is nothing but idiocy, lunacy, stupidity, whatever you want to call it. And really, I want to make something clear. Um, the clown music and all of that is really for his dad and his camp, his representation. So that's for Nick Yamaleva, not really Nico as much because this is really their doing. You got to remember he's still probably what 19, 20 years old. Like he probably just wants to play football. But then you got people basically ruining his football career right before our eyes, and now he's left hanging out to dry and doesn't have a team right now. Um, it's just ridiculous. Um, this is why you can't compare yourself to other people because you don't know what's going on their side, from their point of view. These
Mm-hmm.
people left their team knowing that they had a landing spot. They did not hold out. You want to talk about Darian Mensah and Carson Beck? They didn't hold out on their team, and they left in December when teams needed quarterbacks, not in the spring when pretty much every team has their guy. This is just dumb. It's just dumb. Um, like you want to say, like people want to sit there and say, "Oh, this quarterback's getting this amount of money. This quarterback's getting this amount of money." That doesn't mean you should get this amount of money. And first of all, you want to talk about Carson Beck? Yeah, Carson Beck did not play well this past season. Carson Beck is a more accomplished quarterback than Nico Yamleva. Period. Point blank. Carson
Yeah.
Beck won the SEC. Carson Beck, well, he was injured, but his team made the playoffs, and they went 12-0 and 13-1 the year before. And in 2023, they probably could have won the national title if they got in that those playoffs. If they didn't lose to Alabama in that SEC title game, a lot of people had them win the national title. They were close. I think they could have beat that Michigan team too. So this is a totally different situation. And again, Darian Mensah left in the December window, the winter window. So and he went to Duke because they went out and got him. Nobody was going out to get Nico Yamlera. Um, like yeah, we know about the 5-star rating, the talent level, and all that. He has not shown that the entire season of starting. Has not shown that at all. If you look at all of his stats, he hasn't even thrown for 200 yards against any good team. If you look at how they call the game, they call the game like they don't trust him to do anything because they don't. I mean, look at that Oklahoma game, right? Oklahoma, their offense was completely anemic. They had all those injuries. We know that, right? So they couldn't really do anything. Tennessee got up to a 2-3 score lead and then just sat on it because they knew they can't trust him to throw the ball. You see
Right.
that in every game.
Mm-hmm.
Every game against a good team, he does not have good stats. I saw it in person against NC State. He threw two dumb interceptions. Two dumb interceptions against NC State. Come on, we know the disappointment that they turned out to be. And that game was a blowout, but it wasn't because of Nico doing anything. It was because of everybody else. And then it's just like your son is the quarterback for Tennessee. This like there's so many lessons you could take from this. Like sometimes you have to count your blessings because your son is the quarterback for Tennessee. It's hard to do any better than that. And it's just dumb because if you know anything about the sport, you know that pretty much every good team has their quarterback for the season. Like, and this is what we talked about before. Like these people that are in the sport don't necessarily know what's going on outside of their little bubble. And damn sure the parents. And it goes back to what we talked about before. Like, why do the parents think that they're the celebrity?
Hmm.
Like Nick Yamaleva was on Twitter calling reporters bitches for breaking the story originally, and then it turned out to be true.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's why you're a clown for real, on top of everything else. How can you go on Twitter calling the reporter a bitch to shoot it down and then it ends up being true? You're a bitch. You're an idiot. And you're stupid. You're ruining your son's life. He doesn't even have a team. He's not going to get anywhere near this amount of money now. And he's not going to be playing for a team that's as good as Tennessee. I mean, like I said, all the good teams have a quarterback. And the ones that are not good probably don't have the money to pay you. And again, like you like people want to compare, oh, this quarterback's getting this amount of money. We don't know for sure how much money they're getting. This is not public information like in the NFL. All these numbers that people are reporting could be way off. We have no idea because they don't have to report how much they're paying these people. These are all just rumors. Oh, Darian Mensa left for $4 million. We don't know that. He could have left for $1 million. Maybe Tulane couldn't pay him anything. We have no idea. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes with this NIL stuff. And and you think because you're so and so's father that you're qualified to be doing stuff like this? You played chicken and you lost. It's ridiculous. Like how and it cracks me up too because when the headline first came out and it was like, oh, Nico had to leave or whatever. Of course, people start linking Oregon's name as a potential landing spot. It's like, bro, y'all have no idea. We actually have two quarterbacks that we like. We not going out and paying a bunch of money for a quarterback that we don't need. That's not even as good as two quarterbacks that we got. I promise you, like everybody who knows that I've been talking about Dante Moore. Everybody's been talking about Dante Moore. I bet you Austin Novosad will be a better quarterback than Nico Yamalea, but whether it's for Oregon or another school. I promise you. I promise you. Austin Novosad will be a good quarterback for somebody. I promise you. So this is the idiocy that I'm talking about. So this dude's dad probably thinks, oh, my son can just go to Oregon. You have no freaking idea. You don't even know what quarterback we have. You just think because Dylan Gabriel left that we have nobody. Are you dumb? We recruit just
So,
like everybody else.
so real quick, while we're on that topic, while you're mentioning it, and I know you probably know more about this than I do, but the rumor mill, the streets were saying that supposedly in December they were shopping Nico around to different schools, hitting up schools like USC, Notre Dame, and Oregon. And supposedly it was Dan Lanning that maybe potentially sent this text or had a conversation with somebody in Tennessee's camp, kind of letting them know that that's what was going on. Um,
Yeah, that's a rumor. I think it would
yeah,
be hilarious if it was true.
yeah. I don't know if it's true or not. That's why
Um,
I said hearsay, but
I mean, like it's something that could possibly have happened. Like it's not something that's that crazy. Like all these coaches know each other. That's the other thing these people don't realize. All these players, these coaches, they all know each other. Like the guys that are highly ranked high school recruits, they come up, they all go to a lot of the same camps, combines, things like that, Under Armour All America game. They all know each other. Elite 11, like these people have probably met each other a lot of the time before getting to college. And it's the same thing with coaches. A lot of these people have probably been assistants on the same staff or coached against each other on different staffs before. So they're familiar with each other.
right.
And it's not hard to like gain contact. Like a lot of these people might have the same agent or whatever. Everybody is closer than you may think. You think because somebody's all the way in Oregon, this one's in Tennessee, that they can't communicate? No, they can figure out how to find each other real quick. So I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. And I think it would be hilarious because, and it just shows idiocy. It's like, why are you shopping him to teams that have a quarterback already? And it's like, USC, like you could say for USC, um, is Nico better than Jaden Maeva? I mean, maybe, but like, is it worth paying a bunch of money for him and also potentially destroying your locker room because you went out
Right.
and got this other guy? Now everybody thinks he's getting a chance, or and whoever else you got on the roster, and then you go and just, completely get somebody over the top of them to just take their spot. And it's like, well, that guy wasn't here all spring. Now you're bringing this guy in, paying a bunch of money. He's not even that good. So it's like it's really just not worth it for any team unless you're just kind of bad and you really just need a quarterback.
Right.
That's
And
why
I think
that's why it's just a dumb move.
right. Especially if, like you said, the quarterbacks are not that far in skill difference. Like, then the money isn't worth it. Like, if I'm gonna like the only
The
difference
money and the
between
distraction.
yeah, the only difference between you know what I mean, a motorcycle and a moped is a motorcycle costs more, but they're both gonna get me to my destination
Right,
similarly. You know what I mean? So
right.
like, if it's not a a true upgrade, I don't think it's worth it as well. It just doesn't make
Like
sense.
seriously, this only makes sense for a team like UCLA that's just gonna be completely garbage.
I I heard that UCLA is a strong candidate, but
But we don't
um
even know if they're pursuing them. I mean, it's
and
it's
their
crazy
NIL
that
funds are kind of limited as
right.
well.
Like we don't know what their NIL fund is like, right? Like we've heard over the years that they don't really have a lot of money for football, and it's like, and this is the thing. It's like these people, they have no clue. They have no clue. Not a single clue in the world. Like, what did you think? He was going to go to Texas? Like, you thought he was going to go to Oregon? What do you,
Well,
Ohio
they can't.
State?
He can't
Ohio State
transfer.
has a,
I said he
go
can't
ahead,
transfer
go ahead.
to another SEC school, so I don't know
Yeah, so
how it's
that
ever
even, that limits the options even more. Like, you
even
can't,
more. Yep.
I forgot about that. You can't even go to the SEC in the spring window. It's like, well,
So
but pretty much every SEC school that you want to play for has a quarterback, even the ones you don't.
even if right.
Like, they all have a quarterback.
So where do you think he does land? Like, what do you think?
Honestly, this is it's really tough. I feel like UCLA is the one that makes sense, but again, it's like we know what type of person his father is. I just don't know if his ego is gonna let him really drop down or if he has to go to a G5 team. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if his dad is gonna let him do that. I just think, this is the same guy that's calling reporters a bitch on Twitter. It's like he probably doesn't want to back down now, like after this embarrassment.
Yeah, it's true. But
And it's
can
like
how many G5 teams can truly afford a $4 million quarterback and still pay other players on their roster? You know what I mean? Like
they can't, and that's the other issue
they
is like
can't.
you're gonna have to take less money. I mean,
And then it's
basically, to
like,
go anywhere at this point, you're gonna have to take less money.
and then is it going to be less than the original 2.2 to 2.4 he would have been making at Tennessee?
Most likely, yes. Most likely, yes.
So you literally
Like,
lost money when you could have just
because you got to think too, these other teams they might have the money, but they have to pay a bunch of players because they'd
true.
rather they'd rather have like a couple wide receivers, DBs, linemen, instead of getting a mediocre quarterback who has not thrown for 200 yards against any good team.
Yeah.
This is a five-star prospect coming out of high school, by the way, and I don't want to hear it because I've been like critical of him a little bit recently, and people kept saying, "Oh, he's a freshman. He's a freshman." First of all, he was a redshirt freshman, five-star prospect coming out of high school. Like you can't hype somebody up, and then when they don't live up to it, say, "Oh, he's just a freshman." No, first of all, you're not even really a freshman. It's your second year of college. You basically a sophomore. Like you might be a redshirt freshman, but it's your second year of college. You've been in college. You know how it works. You know how to play football. It's time to play. Like Tennessee had good players around them. Stop making excuses for these people. You can't be 6'5", 240 pounds, and then give me a bunch of excuses. I don't want to hear it. Rated 5 stars coming out of high school. I don't want to hear it. When you have great wide receivers, you have one of the best coaches. Like this team made the playoffs. What are we talking about? Beat Alabama. What are we talking about? This is a good team. It's time to play good. Like this is not some 3-star that just got thrown in there. We don't have expectations for. No, we have expectations. Like newsflash, this is SEC football. Everybody wants to talk about SEC, but now we don't have expectations. Why do we move the goalposts for certain people? Because say what you want about Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel came to play after that redshirt year. Marcus Mariota came to play after that redshirt year. I know those are two Heisman winners, but this is a 5-star prospect we talking about. Like, I don't think those other two were 5-star prospects coming out of high school. They just happened to be guys when they got to college. They was gems. Like, I just don't get it. I really don't get it. And this whole situation is probably one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen in a long time. Long time. I mean, what team even needs a quarterback? Because Notre Dame said they're out. Like you could say, oh, Notre Dame, but no,
Yeah.
like
UNC
no,
said they were out.
yeah, North Carolina said they're
Ole
out.
Miss took a QB today from Division 2 or something.
Yeah, I just
Um,
saw that, and that guy put up a lot of numbers. He might be good.
yeah, he might be good. I mean, if Ole Miss is taking him, he's probably good if he's going to the
Yeah, I
SEC.
mean, they're at least giving him a chance.
Yeah.
So they like something about him. And it
Um,
and again, it's like you have to weigh the pros and cons of the situation. So are you going to pay a lot of money for a locker room cancer and also somebody that's not even that good when you could probably get solid play out of whoever you got on your roster anyways? It's just not worth it for any team that is at the level of making the playoffs or even close to it or winning. Like a lot of people are bringing up Texas Tech. I'm pretty sure their quarterback is returning.
I've heard Colorado as well. I've heard Texas Tech
But
as well.
I don't think Colorado. First of all, Caden Salter is better than Nico.
Yeah.
Caden Salter is a better quarterback. And they got what's his name?
The young kid. Yeah.
Juju Lewis, right? Julian
Yeah.
Lewis.
Juju. Yeah.
He was a 5-star prospect too. It's like, God, like, are you like this is what I'm saying about the parents and the representation. Y'all don't understand that everybody else is recruiting too. You're not the only 5-star in the world. Like Ohio State has one, Colorado has one, Oregon has one, Texas has. Every team that's good has one. Like you thought because X team's quarterback left that they just have nobody. Come on, that's not how it works. When you seen your son be the one that they had waiting in the wings to be the next guy,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand. Like these people have no clue, no clue. But you can go on Twitter and call a reporter a bitch. He was right. Just clown behavior, bro.
And
Just
they also
clown
were talking.
behavior.
They also were on Twitter saying that it was a mental reset and there were no negotiations ever happening. And sure enough.
It's ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. These people's egos and greed will destroy lives because, like I said, you got to count your blessings. You're the quarterback of Tennessee. Your son is the quarterback of Tennessee. People they don't even understand. They don't have a clue in the world of the opportunity that it is to be any Division 1 quarterback, let alone the quarterback for Tennessee when you was in the playoffs. Like this is a team that is close to being at a national championship level. Period. Like, yeah, they might have got blown out, but a lot of that is because of quarterback play. Because you couldn't throw the ball, score points, or do anything.
And Ohio State was also inevitable. It felt like as well.
Well, yeah, Ohio State was, I mean, they ended up winning it all, right? But
Yeah.
like the point is, Tennessee is one of the best teams and programs in the country. Your son is is there. Like what more can you possibly get at this point? Do you get what I'm saying? Like everything can't just be about trying to squeeze every dollar out of everything. And again, like you're not Carson Beck, you're not Darian Mensa. Like they left with landing spots too. They both of them were smart about their portal entries. They
Mm-hmm.
weren't leaving unless they had a spot to go to. So I don't understand how you can do something that dumb and not even have a backup plan. So what does this do? Where is this dude gonna play? Is he gonna play for North Texas or some nonsense like that this year? Come on, you're completely ruining his career. Like you're at a place with all the resources, coaching, other highly recruited players around you. They have money to get people out of the portal. Like this is a situation most people like would die to play for. Like like a lot of people would leave their school to play for Tennessee, and you're leaving to play where? Like you can't get any higher really. Like where are you gonna go? Alabama? Alabama has quarterbacks that they like. Well, you can't transfer to the SEC in the spring, but you get the
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
It's just dumb.
yeah. It doesn't seem like that great of a situation for him right now, especially just not many, like you mentioned, not many teams, not many universities. I mean, it was reported today, multiple collectives and universities said that they don't want to pay for the $4 million. That they would definitely be way more interested if it was 1.5 million dollars. Um, but yeah, I don't think he's going to make that money.
And
Um,
now you're leaving in the spring. You don't even have time to really learn your new team, your new offense for the season. That's why you really want to leave in December because you want to go through spring ball with the new
mhm.
team. And this is what I'm saying. These people don't even have a clue. You don't know shit about football. Nicholas, whatever the hell your name is, Nick with a C. Come on, bro. Couldn't even put the K on the end. Nick with a C.
Let's
What are
look
we
at this
talking?
from the other perspective, though. Um, how do you think Josh Heupel, Tennessee? How do you think they handled it? Do you think they handled it well? Would you have done the same? I mean, Heupel in his post game press conference, he talked about how no one is bigger than the power T. Basically, a rallying cry, echoed by everybody, fans and coaches. Even Mario Cristobal kind of chimed in, saying if they want to play holdout, they might as well get out. Um, just what are your overall thoughts on the bigger picture here? Because this is probably not going to be the last time we see a situation like this, unless some kind of rules or something is changed in this landscape. But I'm going to assume that we'll see prior holdouts or hold-ins potentially in the future. What are just your overall thoughts on how Tennessee handled it and just the repercussions of the bolder
I mean,
implications, broader implications?
they stood their ground and they're taking a risk too, right? Because we don't
Hmm.
know if they're going to be able to get a good quarterback in the spring for this year or who they have on their roster. Like we don't really know what's going on, but I think from their perspective, they're like, this guy isn't even that good, and he's trying to hold us hostage. Like, go ahead. Like you're not holding me hostage. Well, you're not even that good. Like I said, you not Johnny Manziel, you not Jameis Winston, you not Marcus Mariota, you not Lamar Jackson, you not any of these Heisman winning quarterbacks to be holding out on people and asking for a boatload of money. You ain't none of that. You never won your conference. You haven't won a playoff game. You won the Cheez It Bowl. Isn't that the bowl game they won? I don't remember. You won a bowl game. Congratulations. Like win your conference, win a playoff game, win something important. Then you can ask people for more money. That's the other problem. These parents, people want to talk about the kids being soft these days and entitled and things like that. It's because of the freaking parents. It's because of these freaking parents. Look at what these people have to grow up with. He thinks his son should be getting a whole lot of money. Well, he hasn't proved shit. Hasn't proved a goddamn thing. What is he proving? Mediocrity. So you should get paid mediocrity. I don't even know if that's a word. That's how you should get paid. Mid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I see here Tennessee currently has two scholarship quarterbacks on the roster. As you mentioned, that it's also a risk for Tennessee. Yeah, Jake Merklinger, he played in the spring game, and he's probably going to be the likely starter. I don't think he looked too bad based on reports, but he does just lack experience, obviously, especially when you're going to go play a SEC schedule. You don't feel too confident going into the season. They also have a former 5-star recruit, George McIntyre, I believe, and they also have the number one quarterback recruit for 2026 committed, Faison Brandon. So he'll be coming in next year. But
They're
not
definitely going to
many.
have to take a transfer. They're definitely
I
going to
was
have to
going to
take
say there's
quarterback.
not many options for transfers. I mean, I think even The other quarterback from South USA, South Alabama, Gio Lopez, he committed today. I forget where, but I'm pretty sure he committed. We just mentioned that quarterback that committed to Ole Miss. Um, I mean, Jaden Rashada's in the portal.
Oh hell no.
I can't really think of any other top quarterback names in the portal. I'm sure there might be one or two gems in there, but yeah. And then you like you mentioned Tennessee getting a guy in, and then getting him up to speed in their offense. It just it doesn't seem likely. It seems like Jake Merklinger will be the starter to start, and then potentially, if he's no good, they might give the freshman a chance. But all in all, um, definitely a crazy situation, unprecedented, something we haven't seen before. But I don't know. That's the new college football, I guess, with this NIL era and with the NCAA not really having much power over anything, and all these schools kind of really in a free for all, while the NCAA versus the House settlement and all that is still being dealt with. It's the Wild Wild West, and things like this are
Exactly.
bound
It
to
is.
happen.
It is the Wild Wild West. And well, first I'll say Tennessee might be a hot landing spot for quarterbacks now because they realize there's a vacuum. And I don't know. I mentioned Austin Novosad. That might be the next quarterback for Tennessee, assuming that Dante Moore actually wins the starting job. I mean, they said it's a competition between the two, but who knows if that's true or not. But anyways, yeah, I think we might see somebody that we didn't expect jump in the portal. Maybe somebody from the G5 that's a pretty good starter looking for an opportunity. But again, like you said, it's the wild wild west. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is ruining college football and things like that." I mean, isn't this what we wanted though? Because all these years we were mad about people not being able to leave, but now people have freedom, and now it's a bad thing. I get people wanting like rules and regulations around it, but at the same time, like this is what freedom looks like. What people don't understand is that freedom means freedom to do dumb stuff at the same time. So, if a guy that's starting wants to leave in the spring portal window because he feels like he's not getting paid enough money, like you're allowed to do that. There's nothing morally wrong by doing that. It's perfectly within the rules of the game that we have. You could say we should have more rules, and I'm willing to hear that argument. But I don't think this is ruining the sport. Honestly, I think it makes it more interesting because I hope somebody else does something stupid. Let's why can't somebody on Ohio State's father do something dumb like that? Somebody tell Caleb Downs to transfer.
I mean, I just seen a post that said every single five-star quarterback in the class of 2023 has transferred, except for Arch Manning,
Yeah,
Dante
and one
Dante
of one of
Moore,
them,
Nico,
yeah, one of them
Jackson
transferred to my
Arnold,
team.
Malachi Nelson. Crazy,
Yeah,
crazy time. It's
and
really a new college football.
yeah, it really is. And Dante Moore, say the thing about Dante Moore, he should have never went to UCLA in the first place. He would have been starting last year for us.
Yeah.
I think he learned his lesson, and it's like I just love the contrast, and you could tell like the character, the attitude. Not saying that Nico's like a bad person or anything, but just like you could just tell like from Dante Moore's background, like they got his head on right. Like he seems like the perfect person that you would want to lead your football team. Like he's not out there, just looking for the bag or, you know, anything like that. Like he came to Oregon knowing that he was not going to play last season. And he accepted that role and understood that he needs to get better to be able to be the quarterback that he wants to be. So
Hmm.
I'm just glad that my team is not dealing with this nonsense. Like I said, we got two quarterbacks that we like. Like I'd be okay with Austin Novosad playing for us because I have faith in whatever our staff is doing, whoever they put out on that field. Period. Whoever they recruit, whoever they get, and whatever decision they make, I know is going to be in the best interest of this team. Period. So I'm just glad I get to watch stuff like this happen from afar. and it isn't happening to my team because, yep. And I just think, if you're Tennessee, you probably should have known better from the first place,
Mm.
in the first place, because like you got to be careful recruiting people that only care about money. Like, yes, some of them might be really good players, but then you might have people like this where it's not worth the headache, and then you end up in a position like this where it's the spring, you're gonna be going into fall camp, and you don't even know who your quarterback is. And how many times do we talk about it where there's all these teams that can't figure out the quarterback position? They can't do it. NFL, college, probably high school too. Just can't figure it out. Can't find a good quarterback. No matter what's going on, just can't find a good quarterback. So you really have to be careful. You really have to do your due diligence on these people and their background, knowing what kind of person they are, what kind of upbringing do they have, what kind of family do they come from, because you don't want to be in this situation like Tennessee is. You don't. And I'm not saying you shouldn't try to get money. I'm not saying you shouldn't try to maximize your value, but there's also a way to go about that, and there's also a way to be smart about things. And when you have people like Mr. Nick over there doing this nonsense and then want to call reporters bitches on Twitter, even though they was right the whole time, it just makes you look bad all around. And it's like now nobody wants to take you just because of the image.
Mhm.
Like how many times have we seen this watching football growing
Mhm.
up, right? Like one of the best wide receivers to ever play the game, one of the best football players ever, period. Terrell Owens had so many problems because of his persona, his attitude, all off the field stuff, right?
Yep.
Like we all know he played for my team, the Cowboys, and it just seemed like no team wanted to stick with him for more than a few years because of the headache. Now, I was always a fan of his, and I personally didn't really understand it. I always felt like if I was a coach, I could work with him. But a lot of people just don't want to. A lot of people just don't want to because 99% of people are not a headache. Most people are going to show up and keep their head down and just work hard and try to do the right thing. So, when you have this diva persona, you're really just making it more difficult for yourself. And the sad part about this is again, it's not even really Nico. He's like a quiet dude. He doesn't really say much, but this is his representation ruining it for him. So I mean, where do you think? Like, is there anybody that you think could potentially jump in the portal and go to Tennessee?
So I was actually looking, um, and I see Davi Belfort, Virginia Tech quarterback. He was an Under Armour All American, had 31 offers out of high school. He's a son of MMA legend Vitor Belfort, if you guys recognize that last name. He still has all 4 years of eligibility remaining. Don't know if he's a fit. Don't know if Tennessee's interested or if he's even any good. But that's just a name that entered the portal just a couple hours ago, actually, at the quarterback position. Um, I know Wake Forest. I think their quarterback, one of their quarterbacks, Jeremy Heklinski. He was the 2023 Max Preps Georgia Player of the Year, Max Preps National Player of the Year finalist, and he was an Adidas All American. So him being from the South might have him more connected to Tennessee than maybe that other Virginia Tech quarterback, but not really unsure. Neither both would still have all 4 years of eligibility, so neither are truly really experienced. So I don't know if Tennessee really is taking a look at either of those two guys if they're looking for an experienced quarterback. But those are just a couple names that are currently in the portal at that position. Again, it doesn't officially open up until tomorrow, so we might see a couple more names added over the next 7 to 10 days, but slim pickings for the most part when it comes
Yeah,
to
I
that
mean,
position at this
the spring
point of the
portal
year.
in general is usually going to be people that did not win a starting job at whatever school they're at.
Right. I mean, I'm looking here at some of the names and some of the players. I mean, Jaden Ott is a pretty big name from Cal that entered the portal earlier today.
Yo,
Um,
4 Cal RBs hit the portal.
yeah, that's insane. That's literally
Former
insane.
Oregon running back Byron Cardwell among them.
Yep, Liberty had a couple players on their D line hit the portal as well. Florida State had an offensive lineman, and a few other players have mentioned that they're entering the portal. But like you mentioned, no truly crazy notable names outside of like Nico and Ott. A couple decent players, but most of the truly good players are going to already be on teams, on rosters, and on depth charts. So yeah. Other than that, we had some spring games over the weekend. Honestly, with the new formats and the new way things are going on, a lot of them not being televised, there's really not much to talk about um, on that end. Shout out to Dallas Wilson. Learned the name. If you don't know the name, went off in Florida spring game. Wasn't televised, so I didn't get to see it. But the people that were in attendance, the media were talking. I think he broke some spring game records. Had like 10 catches, close to 200 yards, a couple
Oh
touchdowns.
my goodness, we're talking about
Um,
spring game records now.
I mean, again, I just said it's. I'm not gonna sit here and say he's Jeremiah Smith, but
I know you're not. I just think it's
yeah, and he
hilarious.
was going against mainly second team, and third teamers, which is a lot
But
of
I will say
under.
this: it's going to pain me to see him do work for y'all this fall because, as we all know, he should have been a dog and then flipped to y'all at the last second. But that's what happens in this recruiting
It
game.
is. It is.
I
It's
was I
new.
respect it.
It's true.
Florida can recruit too, so it happens. But we'll be all right too. So I'm not worried
um,
about it.
but yeah, it was nice. It was nice to see that young man uh, have a good game as a true freshman. So that was fun and exciting from a Florida perspective. But other than that, I think the main thing we wanted to get into tonight was that whole Nico saga, the situation. And I think we pretty much covered every point, every discussion topic that we wanted to hit, and made it pretty clear where we stand. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where he lands. We'll know the answer within the next 2 weeks, so um, keep an eye out for sure, and we'll definitely talk about it whenever there is an announcement made on that end. Do you think returning to Tennessee is a possibility? You think there's a chance he maybe withdraws from the portal and just, I don't know, works it
No,
out, maybe returns? No?
I don't think they will rekindle that relationship.
Okay. I could definitely
Because
see that. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
again, like a lot of the stuff is still based on relationships, even when it comes to money. Like it's just why a lot of people won't take them because they establish relationships with the people that they want, right? And if a side feels betrayed, a lot of people can't rekindle that. We've seen people break things off for less. So like I don't really know I don't really know how they can come back from this. When you had a guy holding out before, it's like, well, what are you talking about? Like it's different in the NFL because it is all contracts and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's also grown men who understand that and are also under contracts. And you're not really like there's not as much of a distraction or like destroying the locker room culture and things like that. But in college, everybody really has to have their mind on the mission. Everybody has to really be together. We're talking about younger people from the age of 18 to 22 for the most part. Like that's why you see a lot of the dumb, chaotic stuff in college football because people make mistakes during the games. People have mental lapses and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. People aren't as athletically gifted as they are in the NFL. Like there's just so many more varying, more different variables than in the NFL. The talent gap. So you really got to have everybody focused on the mission of winning. You can't have this. And what message are you saying? What message are you sending if you take him back? These are all things you have to take into account when going about things like this. Um, and like personally, if I'm somebody else on that team, I wouldn't want him back. I wouldn't want him back. I'm like, well, you want to hold out like you don't not show up to practice. What are we talking about? Like I come from an era where if you didn't practice, you did not play in the game. Period. You come to practice every time from Mighty Mites through high school through college. You come to practice. Period. No matter who you are. I've played with a lot of good players in football, and they were coming to practice. Like you need the people, especially your quarterback, to be there. They need to be setting the example, especially at the young age of college. You need those people to set the example for the rest of the team. You have a guy holding out, next you know everybody's gonna be holding out. You know, if they gave him $4 million, you think other people on that team weren't gonna hold out? Their whole team probably would have hit the portal trying to get more money. Like,
Yeah.
and
Oh
that's
man.
the other thing, and that's the other thing. It's the spring window. A lot of these teams are spending money on trying to keep their roster together.
Yeah.
Like you have, they don't have a clue. You have no clue how any of this works, what's going on. Like we are fans of this, so we know what teams probably need a quarterback and things like that. But these people, because you're ex player's dad, these people don't know anything. They don't know anything. And honestly, it's ridiculous. And the fact that they have power over this man's life is just sad because we all know like what 19 or 20-year old is going to tell their parents no.
It's true.
Like what, like seriously, like no, nobody, I wouldn't do that in that position. Nobody, like that's the sad part. Like
Especially if you know your
99%.
parents love you and they think they're doing the
Right.
best. I mean,
Right. And they've gotten him to this point, right? Like
hmm
he's came up through high school and was rated high and got to Tennessee. Like so from his perspective, it's been going good so far. I'm just gonna keep this thing rolling, right? And like you love your parents and
yeah,
all that, so
for
you're
sure.
not gonna tell them no. But sometimes this is a lesson. Hopefully, people can learn from this. Is like you have to control your own life because we see stuff like this go on in all types of avenues, right? Like how many times do you hear about a child actor that didn't even make any money because their parents spent it all, and they were in all these movies that everybody was watching, getting paid all this movie, were famous, doing press runs and all that, and now they're 18 and they're wondering where's my money? Oh, because the parents spent it all and God knows what. It's the same thing. These people are greedy and they think they deserve something because the child is doing something. You don't deserve anything. You're not the
Yeah,
one out there playing. You're not the one out there working out. You're not the one trying to learn an offense and read a defense, putting their body on the line. You're watching in a freaking crowd. You don't deserve shit. It's crazy. People have this mentality.
it truly is. So we will continue to monitor this situation as it plays out. Steph, anything else you want to get into, talk about?
I mean, second clown of the week, Colorado retiring Travis Hunter and Shadur Sanders jersey. What did y'all win? Y'all didn't win a conference. Y'all didn't make the playoffs. Y'all lost a bowl game. Just a clownery over there.
Yeah, I
Today
mean,
is just all clownery. What's going on, bro? We retiring people's jerseys after 2 seasons.
yeah, I think that's a little bit premature. I think that if they both went on to be great NFL players and have illustrious careers and be at the top of the sport,
Well, then the NFL team would retire their jersey, not the
well,
freaking
well, I'm
college.
saying I'm saying I can understand if Colorado would do that because they have no history. You know what I mean? Like who like you know what I mean? Like that is the biggest. Those are the biggest two players in their history.
I
But
mean,
the
they
fact
do
that they
have a.
haven't even stepped foot in the NFL and like for all we know, they could both be busts, and we could forget Travis Hunter's name in 3 years, and now his jersey number is retired in the rafters. Like,
After
and,
winning
and I
nine
know,
games.
and I know
Congratulations.
your college career is separate from your professional career, right? Travis Hunter obviously was a Heisman winner. He was one of the greatest college football players I've seen, but it still seems like it's a little bit premature for sure. But I mean,
I mean,
you know, at the
what did you win? What did you win? We've seen way better players not even have their jerseys retired. Like Marcus
but this is
Mariota's number not retired. He
this
won
is
the
just a
Pac-12 and
reminder.
made it
Same
to
with
the
Tim Tebow.
championship.
Same with Tim Tebow. His
Yeah,
number's not retired either. They gave that
won a
shit to Graham
national
Mertz.
title.
but
won a national title at Florida, won the Heisman. And his number's not
won
retired.
two natties.
Yeah, who do you think you are, bro?
Yeah.
Like that's you know,
But this is just a reminder of like how like these universities are not playing the same sport. Like as much as we all say yes, this is D1, this is like that just goes to show like that there is true levels to this. Like the greatest like they're literally hanging banners for having good players.
yo,
Meanwhile, some of the most legendary players in the sport don't have jerseys
yeah.
retired and banners
I
hung
mean,
at
you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember Tim Tebow ever getting blown out by 40.
their Louisville. No, that wasn't Tebow. Was that Tebow?
Was that the 2013 game you're talking about?
That was
The
2013.
2013
I
Orange
think it was
Bowl?
2009 or 2010. But you're right. Louisville
You talking
violated.
about the Teddy? Are you
Tebow
talking
didn't
about
play
the
that
Ted?
game.
Are you talking about the
Yeah,
Teddy Bridgewater game?
that was Jeff Driscoll as our quarterback. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
that was
sure.
years after Tebow was gone.
Yeah, I thought that was 2010. I thought that was Tebow's last year, but it was 2013, like you just said.
Yeah, that was years after Tebow
I
was
don't.
gone.
I can't think
And
off the
that
top of
one
my
was
head.
close though, I thought, or maybe it was. Either way,
Either
it
way,
was
yeah,
Tebow wasn't
it's
there.
yeah. Point being, I agree. It is it is definitely crazy that they're
Yeah,
retiring the number, but I'm gonna let those people have their fun. I mean, they're never gonna sniff a championship, um, a national championship. Maybe they can with Deion Sanders before he moves on to greener pastures. Maybe they can go on a run and maybe do something in the Big 12. But
I don't know, but the way Arizona State's looking nowadays, they kind of got it rolling over there. And then Utah might be back. I might be back in on Utah, man. They got that quarterback from New Mexico. Like, yo, no more of this Cam Rising BS. I'm ready. We might be back on the Utah train, bro.
we shall see. We shall see. We'll do. Um, maybe that's what we'll do next week. We'll continue to talk about some of these underrated teams and all that stuff. I mean, we got plenty of time before the season starts, but yeah, we'll see about Utah, man. Look, as long as they got that coach, Kyle Whittingham, I believe in that program. He's consistently been at the at the top of his conference for what 20 years now. One of the most respected coaches in the entire country in the entire sport, for a reason. Florida went to war with Utah 2 years in a row, so I have firsthand experience with the brand, the style of football they play, and yeah, I can agree with you. I think they're definitely they need to get back to that. So I think a big part of
I'm
that last year,
excited.
like you said, was their quarterback situation. They were kind of
Yep.
in a few games, like not actually, but kind of like a few
Yeah, like the
times.
rest of their team is always going to be solid.
Yeah, they played BYU close. I remember they played. I think they. I remember watching them against UCLA, and they violated UCLA. I mean, UCLA was no good, but they still beat them pretty bad. Like, yeah, they weren't terrible. Like you mentioned, the rest of their team was kind of. They were just playing with a running back at quarterback. So, so yeah. But all right, I think we can close that out here. Or what's your vibe?
Yeah, I think we hit pretty much everything. I mean, I'm excited about the season. It looks like it's going to be wide open.
For sure.
You know.
Yep. So we will be back with another episode soon. Definitely wants to get another episode out ASAP though to get all our thoughts and takes off about this whole Nico situation. Maybe once the spring portal wraps up within the next week or two, we can have another episode recap all that. By then, all the spring games will be finished, and we can maybe do some spring power rankings and predictions and things of that nature. Um, but we appreciate all the love and the support on our first episode back from last week, and we appreciate all the support that we'll get here on this one. Make sure to share this with any friends or family that you feel like would enjoy our content. We really appreciate that. Make sure you like and leave a review. Leave us 5 stars, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That just helps us with the algorithm. It really does go a long way um, when it comes to just getting our show out there to other people, getting us listens and views and clicks. And yeah, make sure you follow us on social media as well at the Pigskin Live on both platforms, X, Twitter, whatever you call it, and Instagram. Um,
Nobody will ever call it X.
yeah, I don't know. Outside of that, we will catch you guys next time. Go Gators. Any last words, Steph?
Nah, that's it, man. Go Ducks.
We'll see you guys next time. Peace.